Don't forget to suck some titties.
Confessions of a Grown Man Drama Queen. That's the name of this episode. Why? None in particular. I guess everything I do is pretty confessional anyways, and I'm pretty dramatic. And I prefer size queens. That's not a big pause. But yeah. Yeah, you know, I think there's certain things. It's a weird thing with masculinity and femininity. Like the NBA draft, for example, not to keep going on about the draft, but I think it's a great example. There's a lot now of athletes they're supposed to have this masculinity aura about them. And fashion, quote unquote, has now become kind of an excuse. Excuse is a strong word, but it's become a open passage. It's become a vulnerable place where guys can dress more stylish or dress more along the lines of what a girl would wear. Like someone wore, it kind of looked like a dress, but it was shorts. And then a guy named Carter Bryant got a lot of flack online for kind of having a outfit and the way he talks and talking about how he had no say in it. It was all his mom and stuff like that. And I don't even really want to get into that. I don't think it's really important. It doesn't really bother me, but it's going to affect and make people feel away. And people are going to say, someone actually commented, oh, these are why the NBA ratings are down. It's like, if he's playing in a game and he's dropping 15 a game for your team, you could give two shits. Jared McCain paints his nails, and he's just become like a lovable public figure, like online. Jalen Green, like, he paints his nails. No one really cares. It's just some people want to insult if he doesn't play well. These are things that people only care about if you're not playing well. And it's kind of stupid within itself. You know, people will criticize guys for painting their nails and stuff like that, and then will be okay if someone has a gambling problem, if someone is a bad husband, if someone does egregious things off the court. As long as you're good on the court, we could forgive a lot of things. But as a guy myself, I realize, look, we all have feminine traits about ourselves, things that aren't exactly, quote unquote, masculine in what a woman's eye would be. And I'll just say for me, I could be a bit, I could be a bit passive, aggressive, where I don't want to talk all the time. I don't want to address the issue, and I won't really tell you when I'm upset, because it actually stems from, ironically, a form of masculinity, but it becomes not masculine when you are trying so hard to not be okay with your emotion, and you suppress it, and you try to avoid being truthful about what's wrong, and it creates a cycle. And by the time shit hits the fan, the situation's 3 times worse than if you would have just said, hey, I don't like when you do that, But I think as guys, we're held to the standard where no matter what you do, I've been accused of being insensitive, and I've been accused of being too sensitive. I've been accused of never getting angry and then also having anger issues. There's always two sides of the spectrum. Whether you have friendships, partners, and just assessment, like, it's just an impossible standard to be one thing your whole life. I guess the whole point of all that is, it's okay to be a drama queen. As long as you make a lot of money, as long as you got some type of something going. But If you ain't got that, you're Ashton Hall losing a race, and then being the drama queen that you're losing a race and go to the UK and then are just getting attacked, and then you try to ride on a bike and you realize, wow, this is why big dudes don't ride bikes. God, he looked like he crushed his nuts trying to get on that bike with those yellow pants. But yeah, welcome to episode, who knows, 350 something of the Often Be podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, most support, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah, recorded this on June 27th, 2025 for the archives. Today, drinking Grape Ghost. And you know, people get very, I don't know what, like as an audio listener, I get it. People get so annoyed when someone can hear someone swallowing a drink. Or I understand chewing food for an extended period of time, but if someone's taking a drink of something and you lose your shit over it, like, it'll be okay. It's weird. People, oh man, I don't want to hear someone gulping whatever when they're doing a show, but then they're the same ones. You'll watch mukbangs where ASMR is out of control. You can hear every crunch of a Taki, which, by the way, I don't understand. I think Wendy's doing this Taki promotion thing, it's one of the dumbest things. One, I don't really eat Takis anyways, but the Wendy's, this is the definition of laziness. I hate, to be honest, when fast food restaurants just team up with an item and they just throw that item on their shit and they call it imagination. It reminds me of the one, God damn it, Clint, speak. That one woman, who she makes those satire videos of, wow, you're so creative. That's what Wendy's is. You're so creative. We're just going to throw a bunch of Takis on top, inside of a chicken sandwich or a burger, call it something new. It's literally, you could have just bought a bag of Takis, saved the extra $2 you pay for it, and you could just put down shit at home. Like the fact that we allow these restaurants to just make struggle meals at home and call it a luxury for us, like a convenience, when they're giving you a small portion, charging you extra. Then they have the Taki seasoned fries, and it looks like absolute just dog shit. It's just lazy. I don't see with these places. Every fucking carryout place has some type of hot honey. Even fucking Panda Express has this chili crisp chicken shit, and you can add hot honey to it. You pay for it too. Even you go to Dunkin' Donuts, they have, I forgot what it was, but somewhere you can add hot honey. Bro, it's like all these restaurants, all these, I don't even know how to explain, just places, they have this Mike's Hot Honey thing. It is completely a lazy collab, and I'm absolutely just, I hate these restaurants relying on lazy collabs. Like a good collab, same with McDonald's, when all they would do is just attach someone's name, like Travis Scott, to a combo meal, and literally the only variation is just like, oh, we made it white cheddar cheese. We made it mushroom and Swiss. And, oh, it's just, this is what this person likes. Get the Travis Scott meal when it's really just the same as the number 6 if you just add mushrooms with it. You know, I'm just so, these promotions and who's ever in charge of these creating items and collaborations and shit. Like, we've got to do a better job. We got to do better than just throwing some Takis on some burger. We got to do better than just throwing hot honey on every level, on any not living thing. Well, technically, all the food was once a lot. But on just any fucking item that someone could put in their mouth. We got to do better than just putting a celebrity or an artist and name it the fill in the blank combo meal. We got to do better than having the Sabrina Carpenter drink and it's just a bland ass espresso latte shit, whatever the fuck it was. We got to do better than that. And us as consumers, we got to stop when we know we're just being sold the same shit overpriced, and it's in a roundabout way to make it cool. That's all it is. They're just adding name. They're just adding big brand on top of their own stuff and be like, hey guys, look what we did. And as I'm saying that, I realize I am drinking a Ghost. I see, you know what? They got me too. We're all fucking hypocrites. I'm drinking Ghost brand with Welch's grape. And then I have 2 energy drinks in the fridge where it's C4 brand Jolly Rancher flavor shit. So you know what? I am part of the problem too. But this shit's at least fucking good. But just throwing some Takis on a fucking whack ass Wendy's burger for $6.50. I'm good. You know, I just wanted to have some fun in this episode. I'll be honest, and you're probably not surprised. I came into this episode with nothing planned specifically to talk about. I just wanted to just kind of relax, have a good one. My brain's a little off today. But yeah. That's how the cookie crumbles. You know, this is just a little fun stuff. My apartment complex, right? For the past couple months, they've been trying to get a copy of our key in terms of for their maintenance, which I don't know why when we moved into the place, they didn't create their own copy. But I understand I don't own the place and stuff like that. And also, my partner's not really a big fan of just random people coming to our place at any time just in case if they want to do a service. And they left a note, and this is like the 3rd time they've tried to slowly insinuate because they can't, I don't think they can technically make us give them a spare key. Anyways. And I don't really, because sometimes I know these apartment complexes, they do weird shit. They'll say, we need to do a service about some shit. And all they're doing is they're going into your place, trying to find some shit so they can tab onto your bill, right? I know the biz. I know what you guys get paid for. I know why we have, 200 open units, and yet you're telling us, hey, it's a high demand society. It's like, it seems like there's a lot of open lots here. They left a little thing. I came home today from picking up some stuff, and I looked at it, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. And they're saying because we put an order in. I'm like, first of all, no one has put an order in for 2 months. We just accepted that you gave us a piece of shit, nasty, moldy, dusty ass place. All right. No matter how much we clean it, because of where we live and because of the condition that it's in, it is what it is. It's like, I do not want people in here for 2 hours just for the sake. And that's the thing, man. These apartment complexes, their businesses, they just want to just come into your place all the time for no fucking reason. It's like, hey, when we get kicked out of here, you guys come in here. All right. I don't have any desire to have some creepy ass maintenance dude that tries to hit on my girlfriend every time that I'm not here. But then when I'm here, they want to act all different, right? See, for the past 3 or 4 months since I've been home for a lot of the time, they're coming in and they act a lot different. Like, oh, because I know how these dudes work. It's funny how the maintenance guy who works for the apartment complex, who probably doesn't even rent an apartment or anything, he's coming in here. And these guys, these older guys, what they'll always try to do when you date a woman that's a few years older than you, when we're really around the same age, but, they always try to do that thing where, you should get with a real man. A man who has his shit together. This and that. A man who's seasoned. A man who can do something for you no one else can do. It's like, bruh, fix the fucking vent. Shut the fuck up. And there's a reason, because these guys and just people in general always act different when you're around. Then when they find out you're their partner and they find out what you look like, and they're like, oh. Then they're all quiet. Now they're like, oh, we need a key. Oh, we need to come in when you're, it's like, no, you don't. If you weren't acting weird as fuck, I probably would just be like, fine, here's an extra key to your apartment that I don't own. But, nah. I didn't even ask for service, so I'm good. If I don't ask for a service, I don't need the service. So, kind of fuck off. And I respect what the maintenance people do. I respect what everyone does. But these guys I know they do this to every apartment where there's a female, bro. There's a lot of older guys and dudes who are just so desperate for pussy. I'm sorry for using the word, but they are so desperate for the lady tail that they do the dirty Mac and shit, where they do the thing where instead of just making themselves impressive to potentially steal someone's girl, they try to belittle you. They try to say things they try to insinuate and do things, right? They try to drop little hints and stuff. And then when you're not around, like, there's camera. I know exactly the shit that you be saying on the slick. And that's cool. That's why I don't tip you. I don't know. I don't think you're really supposed to tip them anyways, but I have before. I've tipped a maintenance guy before. But not this one. But yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of these dudes, like, their idea of trying to get with a girl is trying to belittle is to try to make themselves feel superior by not actually being better or elevated themselves, but to try to make judgments from afar and say what that person isn't and what you can do better and shit like that. And 95% of the time, they can't do better than the person that they're talking about. That's the crazy part. So no, you all can shove your key up your ass. Don't worry, you'll be getting my key soon anyway. So, dark times. But hey, good times. But that's kind of the society we live in. And it's not even age dependent, and it's honestly not even generational. One thing that transcends generations is people trying to make themselves feel superior by shitting on other people or by making assessments or making assumptions or judgments and they try to do everything to not make themselves actually appear to be better. They just try to make everyone around seem worse. It's like the analogy. If you're like a 6, if you're a girl that's a 6, your friends around you should all be 3 and 4, so you could appear to be an 8, If you have ugly friends, you'll look a lot less ugly, baby. If you have pretty friends, well, say hello to your friend for me. And that's the thing, it transcends generations. The style of play of basketball will change, football will change how it's played, but guys trying to make themselves appear to be better instead of actually being better and dirty macking, I think that's the term for it, where you just shit on other guys and make yourselves appear to be better to a woman, is probably the lowest form of self-esteem and confidence, first of all. Secondly, it's a sad state of life to be, I would assume, to where the only way someone could pay attention to you is if your competition is just god awful. And I get it, you're a maintenance man for an apartment complex. If the girl's at home and the guy's at work, you probably have a lot of open opportunities. But imagine having all those open opportunities. You probably go into like 80 apartments a year where it's just a girl there. And how many actually give you the time of day? Not a single, probably like 2 out of 80. And one of them is just desperate. And the other is just like, bored. It's a sad place to be in. And there's a lot of, and that's the type of thing when power comes into an occupation. Not that being a maintenance man probably holds a lot of power, but when you work certain positions and you have this sense of power, you start getting more money, you have more authority, you have people that work under you, you have people you're in charge of. There's people that you can be in charge of firing. There's people you can be in charge of them losing their jobs. You could kind of, if you want to, impose your will. And there is times and places where you gotta have a standard and stuff like that. And then you also don't want to abuse your power to the point where you just become a figurehead of the people you're working for, and you don't have real standing on what you stand about, right? And there's a lot of guys, to be honest, you give them, it's weird how much better they feel about themselves if they just make $65K instead of $50K. It's crazy, the superiority complex that comes with it. And that's why guys, we're, going back, us guys, we're just drama queens. We need validation to feel like a guy. We need to feel like we could do shit. We need to feel like we could fix shit. We need to feel like we can make money. We need to feel like we can do physical things. We need to feel we need to accomplish physical feats of strength. We need to feel like we can accomplish accolades, accomplishments. Like anything that could be like, hey, the shit you're doing, here you go. I think in a weird way, guys, we seek more, in an odd way, we seek more of that physical validation than we would like to let on. Now, also over the course of our life, we will go long periods of time where we are not recognized for a goddamn thing. Like being a father is probably one of the most thankless jobs in the world. No one really takes Father's Day serious. And in a weird way, somehow Father's Day turns into mothers making about themselves. Father's Day just becomes like, hey, what's up, pal? Because it's like, as a guy, you don't want to sit there and beg for people to celebrate you, but you do want people to be like, hey, yeah, this is my day, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Um, so we seek validation, but we just don't want to externally always express it. And it's not, if we're not getting the validation, then maybe we start feeling like, well, maybe we're not worth the validation. Maybe there's something we haven't done right and stuff like that to be rewarded what we're seeking out. But yeah, just one big drama queen. That was an underrated movie, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. It's kind of odd referencing the Teenage Drama Queen movie. Think of Lindsay Lohan. Not bad. It's Friday. Freaky Friday. I think Mike's Hot Honey is for Wingstop too. God, they're just fucking everywhere, bro. It's just everywhere. You know, there's a guy online. He's not a big creator or anything like that. But sometimes he pops up and he's eating Chipotle for 365 days straight. I think he's on like day 50 or some weird shit. And you could tell he's already tired of eating Chipotle, that he's already having to start to add shit to it, dip it in this sauce, cut it up to make it like this and all that. He gets a Chipotle burrito, I think, every single day. And it's just finding different ways. He puts on gloves. He dips it in all these different sauces. He makes it however. He'll bake it and cover it in cheese or whatever. And, you know, I'm sitting there watching this. And I'm like, I admire the persistence. And I catch it once in a while. And also at the same time, I'm like, who's watching this? And there's actually a lot of people that watch it. And the fact, I think as people, we seek more, we just seek more simplicity these days. We seek more comfort. And there's a lot of people where they're eating. You know, there's a lot of, breaking news, a lot of people are eating out here. There's a lot of people eating for content. And it's not even like competition food. Like, I don't think people are really into I think we've shifted from like, we use like the mid 2000s, like Man versus Food Channel and Travel Channel. It would be different types of food people we watch on TV. It would be Adam Richman doing these food competitions where he goes to a restaurant, they have like an 8-pound burger or a 200-ounce, filet steak, or an all-you-can-eat country steak buffet, or eating the hottest fucking wings on goddamn earth. Or it would be Anthony Bourdain going to, Italy and going to some down restaurant. Or Gordon Ramsay, Kitchen Nightmares, going to these restaurants where, like, what's going on with this restaurant and stuff like that. And he would kind of break it down inside out, help him out and stuff like that. And to go from, I don't think we don't really, no pun intended, have the appetite to watch people eat 8 pounds of food like that. Like, even the YouTubers that do still, like, I think Man vs. Beard, I think that's his name, Beard Meets Food, whatever. He still does, like, the eating competitions, go to restaurants, does their eating challenges and stuff. But we're not really into people eating a shitload of food like that anymore. Eric the Electric, he used to do that shit. And I think his body started, I don't think he wanted to live that life, because now the dude's jacked and on TRT. I'm saying it. I think he's on fucking juice. Not shading, like, good for him, but he definitely has shifted towards, instead of eating the whole fucking Wendy's menu or eating 20,000 calories of Burger King or whatever, he's literally doing more just like loose, we're going to eat at 10 different places today and let my Tesla choose it. And good for him. It's probably a healthier lifestyle and just better for him. But I think there's definitely intention behind it. I don't think it's just because he wanted to stop doing it, because they were all getting a shitload of views and money. I do think there's something in the algorithm or whatever, and they're starting to notice that people are just more into watching people eat the same stuff as everyone else. Like the 3 or 4 things that are obsessed over food on YouTube, for example, is Chipotle, Costco, for whatever reason, In-N-Out. Like, I've never been to an In-N-Out in my fucking life, but if you watch it now on YouTube, you would think that is the fucking place on God's green earth. And it seems like it's a good place, good prices and everything, but it's not like this worldwide destination. And we've kind of come to this point where I really do think these restaurants like Chipotle and In-N-Out should credit a good portion of their business to a lot of these YouTubers, that because of the how often and the obsessiveness that people see these people eating food, it's almost like free advertisement. And that's the weird part. Is they're basically getting free advertisement without paying every time someone is trying their Chipotle burrito again. Every time someone is doing some food hack type of thing. I think we're more, in a roundabout way, after 8 minutes of talking about what I'm talking about, I think we're just more into everyone watching the same stuff more than actually watching people eat a shitload of food at different obscure places. We just want the 10th different ways someone has made a Chipotle bowl. We want the 7 different ways of how someone food hacks the Taco Bell menu app. We want someone having an excuse to try In-N-Out for the 9th time, and which way is better, the lettuce wrap, the onion wrap, double, onions. Oh, we'll go to a knockoff In-N-Out, and it's, I don't know what to make of it. It's nothing to get too upset about. I'm not upset about it. It's just an observation I made. Not sure I really relayed all that very well, but you know what? I think it would be cool though. We have juice bars. What if we had an energy drink bar? I don't know how safe that would be. Like Coca-Cola, you go to the Coca-Cola factory, museum thing, and you could try all the different Cokes around the world or whatever. And most of them are pretty trash. I don't care what anyone says. I think when you're in that environment, you convince yourself a lot of shit tastes better than it does. When I went there, the American stuff tasted good, and there were some other ones that were surprisingly not bad. But most of it is pretty bad. Things, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I forgot what I was talking about. God damn it, Clint. Was talking Coca-Cola, trying different things. Oh yeah, what if, like they have the Coca-Cola museum, you just had like the same but just energy drinks. All the different energy drinks we have here, ones in other countries, some that are hired in terms of deadliness potentially. What if we did something like that? I think, but have it like at a local like spot, like you go into a Smoothie King, it's a small place. They're making your smoothie. What if you just had like, you can create your own energy drink, like whatever the ingredients, you can make it sugar free. You can maximize how many milligrams of caffeine you want. I don't know. That might be dangerous because you may have to put a cap on the caffeine. And if you make one wrong measurement, all of a sudden you go from giving someone 300 milligrams to 2,000. But like creating your energy drink and like, I don't know what chemicals or syrups or shit. But I think that would be really great. But I think that would be really cool. Or have like a nutrition bar where you can create your energy drink, create your pre-workout. I think that would be cool as fuck. Creating your pre-workout like in real time with all the different shit they have there. I just thought of this, so I haven't really thought it out well, but I think that would be a unique idea. I know they have where they all make these smoothies, these protein shakes, but do the real thing. If I opened a gym, I think I would do something like that. I would have someone who was like a former bartender, have them specialize in making this shit. They can accept tips. Have it be a cool gym. Hey, you forgot your pre-workout? We got you. And like for every 4 time you get a pre-workout, you get one for free. Just cool shit like that. Chris Bumstead video in a while. I wonder what he's doing. Cool beans. See bum. I see a bum right now. Because I get it. I'm looking at myself. Oh, I'm manifesting. You got to manifest your dreams. I see a bum. You see a bum? I see a bum. Good times. Bringing your hand in the water. So here's a little side. So I came across I gotta say, I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. It happened to be last night. There's very few shows, podcast episodes that I just get excited when I see who's in the show. Like when a show has a reoccurring guest that comes on every couple months and they're regular, and when they're on the show, it's just going to be automatically good. Where every time this person has been on a show with this person, it has always delivered and then some. Typically, like for me, and I know I kind of repeat sports podcasts I listen to. Anytime it's Bill Simmons and Ryen Russillo, you're going to notice a common theme with these names I'm saying. It always delivers. It's always entertaining. It's always interesting. You get a balance of humor, historical context, banter, pushback, real analysis, and then unnecessary trades that no one asked for that are never going to happen. And then Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright. They're the good duo if you're looking for more of a introspective of the whole overall identity of the league on right now, or kind of like what's going on from a bigger perspective. It's not always going to be like basketball analysis or football analysis. It's going to be more about talking about the bigger picture of things from an interesting point of view, deferring takes back and forth. May talk about stuff politically, whether you agree with it or not. It's still at least very interesting. And then with this one probably happens like once a year, maybe twice a year. But when Colin Cowherd and Ryen Russillo do it, it is like Colin Cowherd is like my OG. Like I'm always going to have a place in my heart. He still delivers. To see him from when I first started listening to where he is now, it's weird. I'm like half his age, and I feel like I'm watching someone grow and get older, And then when him and Russillo do a podcast, it is just, I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care if I'm watching something. I literally was in the middle of editing something, and I stopped editing it, and I just stopped that, and I just sit back and I just watched it. I didn't have it in the background playing. I legitimately watched it because it is a whole different experience. And like, now that you can't get what you can get from listening, not that there's anything wrong if you did, but watching, even though they're both just sitting there talking to each other over a Zoom, you get the real facial expressions. You get the real, when someone says something, you see the body language. You see when Russillo's like starting to bust out laughing when Colin goes to an extreme point about something. But there was a specific, and it just happened to be the right time. And they were talking about, it was like 20, 30 minutes in, they were talking about great, like the name of the segment was Great Podcasting. Where they kind of talked about the overall general state of podcasting in general. And kind of how, what's really necessary. And they gave an example of how Dax Shepard and Joe Rogan, the things that make them exceptional at podcasting is, one, their vulnerability. They're willing to talk about their shit. They're willing, and I'll be honest, sometimes with Dax, it could be a little overbearing. Like, when I used to listen to the show all the time, like every show had to be about him being a recovering addict. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's definitely like, all right. But at the same time, that's the same thing that makes him resonate. Podcasting is one of those things where there are broadcasting elements that being on radio is actually very beneficial, and it will give you a leg up in podcasting if used correctly. But if you just want to translate your radio show to make it a podcast, it's probably, there's going to be a resistance. And there's also the other side, where if you were just some dumbass like me who got a whole setup from Best Buy or whatever, and you think, and I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, all you have to do is just talk about your thoughts and what you think. And to an extent, yeah, but there's so much more that comes across when you actually know what you want to talk about, when you learn how you want to do your show, when you actually do it enough times. Like, you're going to suck at it at first, and you're probably going to suck at it for a long time, but you will get better at it. And the more better you get at it, the more it will resonate with people. But the most important aspect, like they explained, is, one, as simple as it sounds, is just your relatability and your value. Like, what value are you giving to people? How do you make it's weird, because even I had to be caught back, because it's that, how do you make people feel that listen to you? An example they gave is, like, they can hate what you're saying, but sometimes they'll watch you more if they hate what you're saying. But people can tell over time when you're just saying shit just to get views, or you're saying shit just to get listens. And people sense, like, you could tell, you could definitely tell with Russillo the time and work he puts into watching all the games and stuff like that. Because even if 90% of the shit he watches in games, he's never going to talk about in a show, like, the credibility when he talks about something, he's not just spewing shit out of his ass. And there's that credibility you build with your audience, that regardless if you agree with the take, they're not just saying some BS like on ESPN where they're saying shit just to get clicks, where you're just saying shit so you can get your time on television. Like, it's your show. Like, no one can take that away from you. No one's in charge of telling you, hey, you can't say that shit. And also, like, when they were talking about when they were in radio, they talked about, Russillo specifically, how, hey man, like, we don't really want you talking about that. Like, yeah, but what about the audience? He's like, well, if we lose our audience, you're not going to be on the radio. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's that balance of having that professional experience, that preparation. That's something you can't replace from some amateur like me who just did a podcast and just started it from his own with no background knowledge and stuff like that. And also, the number one, they said, well, I'll go into that. I'm all over the place. But, yeah, like if you were just someone who just started their own podcast with their own shit, just off the jump, then with no name, no experience, and professionalism on it, you probably have a false sense of it's as easy as it looks, and then you find out real quick it's definitely not. And if you come from the professional aspect, you think that, oh, all I have to do is just do the hits, do what works. And you realize in podcasting, it's more of a close relationship you have with your audience. Because you're not, for the most part, when you think about what radio is, sports radio, it is just people going back and forth, kind of giving their general takes, and they're trying to give the hottest take to get more TV time. They're saying something within a confine of working for someone. When you're doing your own thing, you dictate that confine, I guess. And I don't know. I guess there's pros and cons of both, they basically said. So I did a terrible job of explaining that. I should have wrote some of that shit down, but I think the number one, if I now remember it correctly, the number one thing they said that was the most important. I mean, it's just their opinions, but I do think it's valid. Is life experience, being interesting, having life experience to where it relays off the screen. Because someone who doesn't have life experience, you could definitely, when someone doesn't have life experience in something they're talking about, they're typically not very compassionate. They're not very rational with their point of view. And it doesn't mean you can't have strong opinions about things and stuff like that. But typically when someone is very black and white about something, in my view, it probably is because their life experience has been very insular, one way in that. They've never had to interact with the other side about that. So they think just more conviction you have in that, the more credibility. More conviction doesn't necessarily mean more credibility what you're saying. It just means, all right, that's how this guy thinks. But life experience, like someone with Dak Shepard who has a history of sobriety, someone like Joe who has a history of when he was younger having kind of a not a great stable father and kind of growing up doing MMA, not really being into school and really paving his own path, having an untraditional life. And I think all that stuff over the years, doing Fear Factor, dealing with some people in the industry, dealing with people, growing a show, you see all the facets of people who didn't want anything to do with you. And now everyone wants something to do with you because there's an incentive. And they still have that compassion about things. They still have a respective point of view. To have a bigger perception, even if he's wrong about some things. Having that, and that's one of those things like typically, and look, I'm not that old, so I fall into this category. Like, there's kind of a cap of how good you could become as a podcaster until you gain that life experience for the most part. Like, there's not many 19 and 20-year-olds with podcasts that are great and it's about introspection or they're having deep dives about a combination of full-range conversations that could go all over the place. It's typically very narrow. It's typically very reliant on a group of people talking about things and just piggybacking. That's not an insult. But there's not 20-year-olds talking for 3 hours about something, keeping people engaged, because typically, like, there's only so many life experiences you've had about so many things that you don't really have a whole lot more to offer than what you have to offer. Where someone like Dax is like in his 40s, I believe, maybe even 50s. Joe, 50s, 60s. Someone like Cowherd or Russillo, who's in their 40s and 50s. There's a life experience, and if you know Russillo's story, he really didn't really get like he had to work his way up ESPN just to even get some time, and he didn't really even get like on radio, I think, till his like mid-30s. He had a pretty successful show. Then he started doing his own thing, and now I don't even know if his contract, I don't know, his contract might be up with the Ringer. That's a side note, but it really opened my eyes at, and I even noticed recently, is my podcast has gone through phases. Like, I'll be honest, not every episode in the past couple months has been all that good, in my opinion, even for the standards of this show. And I realize when my show has been at its peak in terms of fluidity, in terms of combination of things I created the show, whether that was humor, quick wittiness. Is that the word? Quick wittiness. Having a wide range point of view was because I lived more of a normal life. I had regular job. I did shit outside. I hung out with friends. I exercised. I went outside and did shit. And you typically observe. You get grounded with the world. You see things that inspire things and stuff like that. And when you live a more insulated, you're so caught up in just a small funnel circle, you realize there's things about that shift apart. And that's because I've restricted my life experiences. And to be honest, I've been relying a lot on what the internet has been, not taking opinions from the internet, but of reading articles, watching videos, watching deep dives, listening to podcasts, to talk about my podcast. And it's not really something I'm proud about, but it's just been the reality. And so those life experiences, when I was listening to this, it was like, damn. And it was a reminder, man, I need to get the fuck outside. Because that's the only way you're really going to continuously resonate, is if you're in tune with the same world that your audience is living in. And that's where getting out of touch turns people off. People stopped tuning in to Howard Stern when he became so goddamn rich and stopped going outside. And then he became kind of a slave to what the media was telling him, and he's making up for years and years of being brash and harsh. And now he's trying to be on this arc to be likable, because that's the only way he's going to get on certain networks. Even though he doesn't need the money, it's the only way he's going to get on certain airwaves. It's the only way certain people are going to come on his show, because he doesn't have the same weight to his name as someone like, Joe Rogan has now. And that's the crazy part. But yeah, that whole, what makes podcasting great and what makes people resonate with who they're listening to is you can tell when someone is just spewing something out of their ass to either be likable, either to think they're having a grand take about something, or someone that they're actually coming from it from a reference point, and they're shaping a real point of view that's in depth, that has depth to it. And when you know the backstory of people, then you hear their opinions about something, and then you start to understand someone more throughout their thoughts and takes about things. Like Roddy Boubois. If you know, you know. Yeah, I need to read a fucking book. But yeah, that is how the cookie crumbles. You bet you're sweet, baby. Yeah, so that's what great podcasting is. Definitely not from this podcast. One day, getting there slowly but surely. You know, there was this, it was on ABC News. See here, another topic about an article. There was actually like a breaking news ABC News article. I thought it was like some fashion icon dying. It was a fashion icon for, I forgot what the name of it was. But I was like, I can't believe I'm actually, dude, I thought like some fashion icon died or something like that. Hold on, I want to find this because I don't want to do it disjustice. I remember it was, just give me just a second. I'll edit this part out. Here we go. This was yesterday. Fashion icon Anna Wintour, the longtime editor-in-chief of Vogue, has announced she's searching for a new head of editorial content at Vogue US. She's 75. She became editor-in-chief in 1988. Will continue her role as chief content. Blah, blah, blah. Like, ABC is dropping this in the middle of while we're having an Iran, Israel, USA trio of war suppression. And I thought, man, they're dropping this, some big fashion icon unfortunately passed away. And it's just, she's looking for a new editorial in chief. I'm like, I didn't know ABCs were posting job applications now. What am I supposed to, why is this being posted on ABC News? Is this just like a free, did they pay for you to write this? And basically it's just like, why are they telling the world this? It's not like they're having an open application process. They probably have a small list of people who they already have in mind. So why the fuck do we need to know about this? Just what the world needs. Searching for a new head of editorial content at Vogue. Just what we need in the world at this time. Someone to calm the storms of what's going on out here. And, I made a cheeky comment like, well, shit. Hey, might as well apply, right? They're just asking. Obviously, they're having a hard time having someone find the job. So I was like, hey, I'll give it a shot. I don't even know what you guys fucking do. I saw The Devil Wears Prada once. I felt like I could do that. I go get you some, bad dresses. Yeah, in the comments, I thought it was an announcement saying, I thought it was like someone dying. I didn't think ABC News would make a whole breaking news fucking article. It was just in breaking news at 7 o'clock. In the world we're living in the past couple weeks, I'm thinking if something's breaking news, it must be something significant. It's not like it's been a slow news week. I just couldn't believe it, man. I was quite impressed. Just the fact hey, no matter what's going on, fashion's always in. And Vogue. You got my Vogue of confidence. Mwah, mwah, mwah. That is just peak 2025 USA content right there. And you know what? The reason why they would make it breaking news is, to put it simply, because they knew there were people that gave a shit. Let me read, this probably isn't great podcast content, but I'm going to read some of the contents. God bless this woman. Oh my God. I'll do it. I'll have my own column that will educate people on men's rights. All right. This is a real comment by someone. A true legend. Oh, wait, no. She has been in office for decades. More stable than the president. Well, because a president at most can only serve 8 years. So by default, there's going to be multiple presidents in decades. So that's a dumbass fucking comment. This is real continuous leadership. I hope the new person will have a vision. Leadership. Okay. It's crazy. There's a lot of... I'm not trying to shit on her or nothing, but like, I just didn't understand the significance of this article. Like, dude, it was like... It wasn't... Like, this is the type of thing where it's like... It's in the fashion section of USA Today, and it's like their top story in that section. It's not some breaking news. Everyone's got to have this right now. This isn't world-bounding issues. It's not someone dying. It's someone voluntarily stepping down at the age of 75, and she's still going to have a role at Vogue. And then someone else is just taking her role, and she's probably still going to have say over that person in that role. So she's not even really leaving the damn company. She's not even retiring. God. You can't make this shit up, man. I'm not anti what she does. Like, it's just like, out of all the things, dude, I don't often get news alerts like that unless it's like, we've been bombed again. We destroy nuclear sites. Like, oh, Russia and this, we captured Saddam Hussein. Like, that was the type of significance of the push of the article to my alerts. And it was like, hey, fashion icon stepping down. It's like, oh, a 75-year-old stepping down from a big fashion position? Crazy work. And then I'm sorry, I can't get over that one lady's comment. She's been more stable than the president for decades. And it's like, oh, yeah, we've had multiple presidents in decades. There's term limits, you dumb fuck. Jesus Christ. Maybe there should be term limits in fashion. Maybe for big corporate businesses, they should have term limits. I honestly, that's not a crazy business idea. If I ran a business, now, I don't know, it's probably not the greatest. If someone's working, you shouldn't change it. But at the same time, maybe it'll keep the people in that position to actually be pushing the business forward. Like, if I was the owner of a company and I'm hiring people who are leading the company and I'm paying $20 to $30 million a year, I need to make sure you're actually doing shit that earn that $20 to $30 million a year. And hey, if this year, if there wasn't even efforts to progress the business and you're just like, hey, I went out and checked on this location for a couple weeks and then I flew my private jet out here. You say what you want about Brian Nichols, the Starbucks guy. I mean, that dude, they pay him the money for a reason. Like, there's been changes. And it's been night and day. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there. Sounds like a decent spot to lay an egg. Lego my egg. All right. Oh, God. I'm sorry. That was episode whatever. 350 something of the Off Me podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, and the notification bell most part, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. You bet you're so bibbidi.